Yo, what is good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Renegade Roundtable podcast here. I am Jeffrey Kirby. Today is going to be a fun one because we are 1 week from the NFL draft. A week from today, we will be live here on the Renegade Roundtable YouTube channel. We'll be live on the Revolution Radio Facebook page. We're going to be live all over the place as we will be bringing you live coverage of the 2022 NFL Draft. It is going to be an absolute blast. I cannot wait. This is my 4th year doing it. And it's honestly one of the best times ever. I absolutely love doing that show. And also, before we get started, and we'll talk about what we're going to be doing in today's episode, we are also going to be doing this Sunday, me and my man Paul Huffaker, we are going to be doing a show. It's called The Dropback Show. I'll have it live here on the channel too. This will be the first time I've done this on YouTube, but it's not the first time I've done this. In fact, it's my 3rd year doing it. What we do with that show is we basically take a look back at last year's first round pick, the previous year's first round pick, and we kind of grade it based, we drop back to the last year's draft, and we grade the first round based on the rookie year. It's always a fun time. We always get a decent amount of interaction with that, so I hope to see you there. Times will be more specific when we get to it, because right now there are certain things that are in place that are holding that up in terms of time. But I will get that for you if you haven't yet. Follow us on Twitter at Renegade_table. We'll have that out for you. So yeah, there's that. So what we're doing is we're going to kind of discuss things that, some storylines that we've heard from the draft. We're going to go through a ton of mock drafts. And then speaking of mock drafts, this Monday, for Mock Monday, I will reveal, usually this would be the show I reveal my mock draft, my 2.0 mock draft. But I left it up to the viewers, and the consensus, it was a unanimous vote that they decided they would rather have me do it on a separate video. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Probably as soon as I get done with this, or, tonight or tomorrow, I'm going to record that new the new mock draft video, and it's going to be an absolute blast. I hope you guys like it and enjoy it. I'll obviously also put it out on Twitter, just so people can discuss and decide whether it's how terrible it is, because that's how it always goes. Everyone's mock draft is always the worst mock draft they've ever seen in their life, because, well, that's just how it freaking goes. But I do want to say, first and foremost, I do want to say thank you to everyone. Over the last few weeks, the channel has grown exponentially. We've doubled our subscriber count in the last month and a half or so. It has been insane. We're at 422 subscribers. We're close to 100,000 total views. That was a goal that was set by the end of the year. And we are in April, and we're at 85,000 total views. That's pretty damn incredible. Because obviously we have some goals: 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, 4,000 hours of watch time. We're at 3,100 or 3,200 of that, and also we are at 85,000 total views. That's pretty damn incredible. So I do say salute and thank you so much to everyone for that. Now, let's discuss some of the NFL draft stuff here, because I'm going to be very interested to see what some of you guys have to say. I'm actually going to send this real quick. I didn't get a chance to post or send this to some of my people, to some of my friends, but I'm going to send this to some of my, send the link to some of the viewers real quick. Some of my friends. I just want to, I want to get them involved as well, because, I want their opinion on everything as well. All right, there we go. I just want to send it to a couple people. So let's talk about the NFL draft, because right now, this draft is very unpredictable. We don't know. I mean, we're starting now to get to the point where we know who the number 1 overall pick is going to be, but after that, who in the hell is Detroit going to take at number 2? Are they going to go with a defensive player? Are they going to go with a pass rusher? Are they going to go? Where is Kayvon Thibodeau fall into any of this? Is Kayvon Thibodeau, is the talk about him falling, is that just all smokescreen and he ends up going at number 2? Is it end up being Trayvon Walker? Do they go with a guy like Ahmad Gardner? Do they go Kyle Hamilton, who seems to be slipping a little bit? Do they go offensive line? Because if you look at some of their needs, obviously they're saying that a quarterback's in need. I don't think there's a chance in hell they go after a quarterback. Wide receiver, I don't think they're going to go to wide receiver at pick number 2. Linebacker, no, there's not really a linebacker at value. Corner, there you go. That's where Sauce Gardner comes into play. And also offensive lineman. So there's a few different options when it comes to Detroit and some of their needs. And it's just kind of difficult to really decide what they're going to do. And then on top of that, you go to Houston. They got 2 picks. They got 3 and 13. They have a couple of needs that really could be filled. I mean, let's be honest. It seems like everything is a huge need for the Houston Texans. And this is going to be a long rebuild for them. But I think that in this draft, if you pull things out correctly, that rebuild, these 2 players can really, really help with the rebuild. Do you go, like, for an example, so there's some of their needs, corner, safety, so basically all of secondary. They need an edge rusher. Maybe they could get that at 13. Offensive tackle. Now here's where things get interesting with that. And let me know if you guys have anything you want to say. Make sure to please comment down below. I got the comments right here in front of me. We'll be discussing everything. Offensive tackle. My personal opinion, I think Akeem Ekwonu is slightly rated higher than Evan Neal. There's some that may believe that Evan Neal is still higher than Akeem. I'm personally opposite. I think it's Ike Ekwonu over Evan Neal. But here's the kicker. Evan Neal has versatility because he's also had experience on the right side of the offensive line. So So now you're looking at, okay, you got Lamberry Tunsil. Now, do you get a guy like Evan Neal, who you know has some experience on the right side, kick him to the right side, and now you have a very good duo at your tackle position protecting Davis Mills? That's something to think about. Corner. Do they go with Sauce Gardner here? Is that because, let's be honest, Sauce Gardner he seems like the most hype since Ramsey. Safety. Maybe they could go with a Kyle Hamilton. It seems, again, though, he seems like he's slipping a little bit. And I do want to say something real quick on Kyle Hamilton. And I'm going to mention this again next week, and I'll mention this again in the mock draft. Kyle Hamilton, let's talk about this for a second. Kyle Hamilton went to Notre Dame. He went to Notre Dame. There was another safety who plays in the NFL who was very similar. Very, very similar in terms of build to Kyle Hamilton. And that is Harrison Smith. And Harrison Smith has become, now I'm pulling up my stuff here real quick, so give me 1 second. There we go. So yeah, Kyle Hamilton. People knock him for having a 4.5 40. Also remember that Harrison Smith, he ran a 4.5 40. Harrison Smith ran a 4.5. He also had a 36-inch vertical at 6'4", or 6 whatever. Kyle Hamilton, 6'4", has a 38-inch vertical, ran a 4.5. And you see what has happened to Harrison Smith and his ability to run around and roam in space. And also on top of that, you get a guy who's getting comparisons to Cam Chancellor. You get a guy who I think has the versatility of, remember how Isaiah Simmons was in 2020 when he came out of Clemson. The versatility, and that's what made him so special, was you could play him almost everywhere. That's kind of a similar thing that you're getting with Kyle Hamilton. Some people are starting to slip on him. No, I'm not whatsoever. I think he's going to go out, and if he does slip, I think he's going to make teams regret that pick because he is going to lay boom on people and he is going to be an absolute stud. for whoever set team is going to be. And again, you got him at 13 as well. I think that's where you go in to get a pass rusher as well, because if you look at this, they were ranked dead last in offense and 31st in defense. So you need a whole lot of help if you're the Houston Texans and if you're Lovie Smith. With the New York Jets, I'm not going to go through every single pick. I will talk about Pittsburgh for a minute because there's a very intriguing thing that's going on with them. We'll go through the top 5, and then we'll kind of go through, we'll go to Pittsburgh, and we'll look at some of these mock drafts. New York Jets, that's another interesting team. They got 2 picks, 4 and 10. Here's an interesting thought to have, and I want people to put this in the back of their heads as maybe a hypothetical. The New York, I'm not saying... They're also interested. Apparently, they could possibly be going after Deebo Samuel, which is interesting, but that's a different story here. We're going to talk strictly about these 2 picks. Say if there's a team that wants to get ahead of maybe Carolina, who is really possibly looking at a quarterback. I think that's the first pressure point of a true team that's really looking for a quarterback. If you're a team that wants a quarterback and wants to make sure that you could get the apple of your eye or apple of the eye of whoever you want, I can maybe see the New York Jets maybe saying, hey, let's do something. That would be something I would be very interested to see and hear about. Now, speaking about some of their needs, though, safety, linebacker, corner, wide receiver, edge, I think they would be foolish maybe not to go after Sauce Gardner here. I also think that maybe Kyle Hamilton, again, they did lose Marcus May. Remember that? Yeah, they signed Jordan Whitehead, but I think losing Marcus May was a huge loss for that defense, for the last ranked defense. They were last in defense last year. Maybe they could go after a wide receiver here, but I think that would be more of a pick number 10 situation here. So this is very interesting in terms of the Jets and what they could do, and I think they have a lot of options as well. And again, I think that might be the first real pressure point in terms of a trade as well. So that's something I want everyone to keep in the back of their minds, just to have, just in case. And if it does happen, remember, I warned you first. We'll talk about the Giants real quick, and then we'll get into the Steelers, and then we'll look at some of these mock drafts. New York Giants, they're a mess. They are a mess. They got a new GM. They got a new head coach. Obviously, they get 2 picks back to pretty much 2 of the next 3 picks here at 5 and 7. I think they would. This just honestly seems like a Kayvon Thibodeau team. I could see it happening. Maybe also a Trayvon Walker as well. Remember, they lost Jabril Peppers. They lost Evan Ingram. They lost Will Hernandez. Yeah. Tight end, you're not going to draft a tight end, obviously. I don't think they're going to end up drafting a safety. Yeah, and they didn't really acquire that many players, so their net loss was honestly worse than what they gained. They were second to last in offense and 21st in defense. They're in a weird situation. I could see in terms of maybe how they feel about one of the linebackers, maybe Nakobe Dean, maybe Devin Lloyd. Offensive lineman here, that would be something I would be interested to see. Maybe an Evan Neal, or if Akeem Ekwonu has fallen to this part, maybe that's where he goes. And another need, again, safety. So that's where Kyle Hamilton comes into play. So those are all things that we want to talk about here. Let's get to Pittsburgh here. I want to get to Pittsburgh here because there's a whole lot of interesting debates and talks when it comes to the Steelers and what they can do, because there's different options here. Because what they did in free agency really opened up what you can do. Let's talk about it. So you added Mr. Trubisky, so you get yourself a quarterback. Cool. He's not forever. It's only 2 years. Not forever, as far as we're concerned at this moment. You re-sign Chuck Okorafor. You get him on a 3-year deal. You sign James Daniels from Chicago. You get Mason Cole. You sign Miles Jack. those are those were great acquisitions, and this was very characteristic for the Steelers, but those were true needs that you had. And obviously, yes, you lose a couple wide receivers, though. You lose Juju to Kansas City. You lose James Washington to Dallas. So, I mean, there's a couple other... You lose Ray McCloud as well, but that's more of a special teams kind of guy. And so, it's real interesting to see what you can do. Because if you look at some of the needs here, quarterback, maybe. That very well could be a possibility for the Steelers. Offensive tackle. You could still go after an offensive tackle here. I mean, I don't see it as much, but hey, it's still a possibility. Wide receiver. That's intriguing. Do I think they go wide receiver at 20? Maybe not. I would probably vote more of no. But it's a need. It's a possibility. But I think that would be a depth situation, and you could get maybe someone in the second round. Safety. I've been seeing people say Kyle Hamilton, whatever. I don't think there's a shot in hell. I think I have a better chance of actually getting a six-pack and losing weight than Kyle Hamilton falling to 20. But, again, I mean, if that was the case, great, wonderful. But I think that would be more of a maybe Daxton Hill kind of player. I like his versatility. I like that the fact that he could play a little bit of nickel corner as well. So I like his versatility back there, especially with Minka back there. We also don't know what's going to happen with Terrell Edmonds. We also don't know what's going to happen with Tyrann Mathieu. We forgot about that. So that's something that we're still going to have to monitor. So, and then corner. This is where I think you start to get into Andrew Booth Jr. From Clemson territory. You maybe get into Kyler Gordon territory. If Trent McDuffie is still on the board, which I highly doubt is going to be the case, but if he's still on the board, that could be intriguing because again, you were bottom fourth in the NFL in defense last year. So, and maybe defensive tackle as well. I think defensive tackle is interesting. I don't think Jordan Davis will be there, but Jordan Davis could be intriguing. Maybe Devontae White if you want to kick him inside. Maybe that'd be a possibility. Pair him inside of with Cam Hayward. That could be nice, especially now with Tyson Alulu. He is coming back, but he is getting older. Stephon Tuitt, we don't know about the future of him on this team. That could be a possibility as well. So we'll see. And I'm interested to see how people are going to relate and how who they want who they want the Steelers to take as well. And I'll be interested to see a look at a lot of these mock drafts as well, because I'm interested to see how many of them have us going quarterback, and if they do, in what order, and also maybe what other positions outside of quarterback do they have us taking. And I do want to go ahead. We're going to go ahead. I have about 5 mock drafts up here. We got a couple I got one from CBS, one from Pro Football Focus, one from the NFL Network from Maurice Jones-Drew, and then we also have a combined one with Mel Kiper and Todd McShay. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to pull this up now. We're going to switch screens. Here we go. I'll zoom in a little bit for you guys. So, with the first pick, and this is from CBS Sports. Who is this from? Jonathan Jones. Headline: Seahawks trade up for Russell Wilson's replacement. Steelers go with local favorite. So, here we go. He's giving us spoilers here, but it's interesting. So, obviously, number 1, Aiden Hutchinson. No surprise at all. That's probably their biggest need, or one of their biggest needs. Doesn't surprise me. Go and get the best player in this draft. Number 2, the Detroit Lions selecting Trayvon Walker. This is interesting already because, again, we talked about some of their needs. They could use a defensive end. They could use a pass rusher. If they wanted to go that route, I almost maybe see them going more of a. I almost feel like Sauce Gardner would be the shot here. I think that would be more of the territory that I would want to go, but I also don't blame Detroit for going Trayvon Walker either. The Houston Texans selecting Akeem Ekwonu. So again, as we talked about earlier, you probably want to go an offensive tackle here. It's just a matter of who. They're wanting to go with Akeem Ekwonu. So they're talking about Laremy Tunsil likely being on another team and next year. So now, if that's the case, now you're looking at his replacement, and Akeem Ekwonu is a guy I like him. I think he's the best tackle in this class. I really like him. I like his physicality. I like how nasty he is. I also like how smart he is as well. So those are all things that I really like. So I would grade this a very good pick for the Houston Texans as of now. The New York Jets selecting Ahmad Sauce Gardner, so the sauce is going to the Big Apple. I love it. I love it. I love it. For the New York Jets, help out that last-ranked defense, and you get one of the best corners that we've seen probably since Ramsey coming out. 6'3", a 6'3" corner you could put him on an island. Revis 2.0. I'm not saying he's going to be Revis, but he has a possibility of being. Number 5, the New York Giants selecting Evan Neal. I like it. This is a good pickup for them. This really helps out their offensive line as well. Really help protect out Daniel Jones. Also helps out with the run game as well as Saquon Barkley. And he's in a situation of he needs to have himself a year. And he says here the Giants will have picks 5 and 7. Or not sure what they'll get in return, so why not take a tackle? Okay, so he's saying a possible trade. So what I said about the Jets, he's saying about the Giants, which I didn't think about, but it's an interesting target as well. And we have ourselves a trade here with the Seattle Seahawks from the Carolina Panthers, and Jonathan Jones, I believe his name is, has him going Malik Willis, quarterback from Liberty. I don't see it. I think they truly want to. Now, it's Pete Carroll. He's so far outside the box that you never know what he's going to do. And if that is truly the guy that you want to get, great. And if you're Carolina, if you want to think about this too, you don't have another pick until the 4th round. If you want to acquire some extra picks, maybe that's okay. Then if you want to trade back, but I think that's more of if you don't want to get a quarterback. If you're not going to get a quarterback, absolutely. Trade out of this pick, let someone give you those extra picks, you go and acquire those extra picks, and then someone could go and get their quarterback that they think could be of the future. So if that's the case, then yes. But I think if you're going quarterback, no, I think you want to stick here. Because that would be, I think, the reason why you would want to trade up. Unless you're one of those teams that really wants a wide receiver, and then maybe that's where you could get into maybe either Carolina or maybe Seattle or maybe the Giants, maybe, depending on also what the Jets do at 4. So here he has the New York Giants. As I mentioned earlier, it seems like a Kayvon Thibodeau kind of team. Well, here you go. So now you fill out a couple needs, and I mean, it depends on how you personally feel about Kayvon Thibodeau. He has the ability, I think, to be a Khalil Mack. I think that was my NFL Pro comp for him, was Khalil Mack, just based on his build and his skill set. But it's just going to be based on his mental. I think that's all something that we need to discuss with that. Number 8, the Atlanta Falcons selecting Kyle Hamilton, safety from Notre Dame. Now that's interesting here because I really think that they would want to go wider. Unless they're just truly going off their board and they're going best player available, then that's one thing. But I think if you're going to go after a need, unless they feel like they could get someone later on in the draft, I just think I would rather have them go wide receiver here. Remember, Calvin Ridley, he was already wanting out to begin with, and now he's suspended for the whole year. You lose Russell Gage to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, so now you're looking at a situation where you don't really have all that much for Marcus Mariota to throw to. And on top of that, you lost Hayden Hurst as well. He went to Cincinnati. So you really need to get Marcus Mariota a good pass-catching receiver. And in this case, you get the apple of the eye. Whoever you want is all there for you. If you want a taller receiver like Drake London, you can get that. If you want to get someone who can really make things happen, who could possibly also be an early candidate for Offensive Rookie of the Year, you get a guy like Garrett Wilson, you can get him here. I don't necessarily agree with this pick. Yeah, and yes, you have Kyle Pitts, but I think you want to get someone outside of him to really throw to and be a legit target. So I don't necessarily agree with this pick, in my opinion. So the Carolina Panthers, they select Charles Cross. So, okay, in this situation, if that's who you want, cool, great. You trade out, acquire some extra picks, and you still get the guy that most people probably had mocked going at 6. You get him at 9, get extra picks. This would be very smart for Carolina as well, if you're Scott Fittner as well. Number 10, the New York Jets selecting Garrett Wilson. Now here you go. So, again, who do they have at 4? Okay, so you get a corner, and then on top of that, then you just get a guy who I said could possibly be an early Offensive Rookie of the Year candidate in Garrett Wilson. That's exactly what you get. So now you fill out 2 needs that you have. And so, in this case, I like what they've done here so far. So, if this is what happens, congrats to Joe Douglas and to Robert Saleh. Well, number 11, the Washington Commanders. They're selecting Drake London. I like this idea. I like the thought process here. Think you need to get someone that could be paired opposite of Scary Terry McLaurin. You get yourself a wide receiver here, and you get a guy who could be a red zone threat. So, I like this pickup. And, again, I like this pickup for him. I really do. Great job. All right, number 12. Okay, this is interesting. The Minnesota Vikings selecting Jordan Davis, defensive tackle or defensive lineman, whatever you want to call it, from Georgia. Now, this does fit a need. It does. But, so they're switching to a 3-4 team, and so he could fit as as that one technique in the 3-4. I maybe see him more of maybe wanting to go corner. I think that's a bigger need for them. This would also, if that would be the case, that'd also be the third corner that they've taken in 5 years. So, I'm not opposed to it. I just think maybe corner would be a bigger need if you're Minnesota. Number 13, the Houston Texans selecting Derek Stingley Jr. So we talked about earlier, they could possibly get a pass rusher. No, they do not. Instead, they go after Derek Stingley Jr. Now remember, for Houston, they did sign Terrence Marshall. Or no, they lost Terrence Mitchell as well. But you did add Steven Nelson to a 2-year deal. You also added some more depth with your secondary. You added MJ Stewart just for a year, Terrence Brooks for a year. You also get Desmond King, 2 years, $7 million re-sign. So I thought maybe this would be where Jermaine Johnson goes. I think that fits a bigger need in terms of what they truly need. I think that would have fit a bigger need for them. But I'm also not opposed to this pick either for Houston. Number 14, the Baltimore Ravens. They're selecting Jermaine Johnson II from Florida State, pass rusher, defensive end. Now this does fit a need for him. Now, I also think I'm not opposed to this pick, but I felt like maybe they would want to go after a center. Maybe it's Hal Linderbaum, depending on, because his value has kind of been all over the place. So we don't know where the hell he's going to go. And you get a guy who's going to replace Bradley Bozeman, who went to Carolina. You got Morgan Moses. You got Michael Pierce. Your big deal was signing Marcus Williams to that 5-year, $70 million deal. So, yeah, this isn't a bad idea. I could also maybe see them going with an offensive tackle here. Maybe this is where we start to get into Trevor Penning territory. So, I think they're in a situation, too, where you can get some different, fill out some different needs. And they're not, I like the position that they're in terms of what they're able to do. Philadelphia selecting Chris Olave. I like this pickup for them. I thought this would have for sure been maybe Trent McDuffie and maybe hope that you could get Chris Olave just a little bit down in the draft at pick number 18. But hey, this fills out a huge need, especially if as of this very moment they don't have Deebo Samuel. That could be a possibility for them. And if they do, well, then we'll see what happens. But in this case, I really like this pickup because you need to get someone on the opposite side of Devontae Smith. If you're Philadelphia, yeah, this is a great pickup for them. New Orleans selecting Trevor Penning. I like this pickup for them a lot. I think this fills a need again. It's probably their biggest need as well because you got to replace Teron Armstead, who went to Miami. So I like this pickup for them. Number 17, the Los Angeles Chargers selecting Zion Johnson, a guard from Boston College. I like this pickup for them. I think that between that and probably defensive tackle is probably one of their need. It seems like defensive tackle. It seems like a lot of people are stuck on having them take Jordan Davis, but I think I do like this idea for them. You get a guy who can play, who can be versatile, and yeah, I like this pickup for them. I'm a big fan of Zion Johnson. Okay, there we go. Number 18. Okay, so there you go. So they just kind of swip out what I thought they were going to do. They go and get Trent McDuffie at pick 18. So great. I like it. Bravo to Philadelphia. And number 19. Now this is intriguing here, and I want to discuss this for a second because I've thought about this on multiple occasions in terms of what the Saints could do. Jameson Williams. Now I think if this is who they feel like, it's based on who has been taken already, then okay. But I'm also asking myself then, if you get Chris Olave, say he's still on the board versus Jameson Williams, then who do you go to? Who do you think is better? I personally still feel like maybe Jameson Williams is better than Chris Olave. Hurts to say, but I mean, hey, whatever. We got to be honest here. But remember, as he mentions here, Michael Thomas, he's been dealing with injuries. So do you want to get a wide receiver who you don't know what the timetable is going to be on him? Or do you get a guy that you know is going to be healthy? And then, so that's something to take into consideration as well. But all in all, fits a need for them, fits two of their biggest needs. So I'm very happy for this pick for Mickey Loomis and Dennis Allen. And so here we go. Pick number 20, the Pittsburgh Steelers selecting Kenny Pickett, quarterback from Pittsburgh. Hey, I mean, very well could be a possibility. We discussed it earlier. There's a multitude of positions that they could go after as well. You could go after a quarterback here. Would they maybe want to trade up to make sure they get Malik Willis? I don't know if they're going to want to trade up that much. Again, you could go after a safety. Maybe to go after a defensive tackle. Or I don't think they go after wide receiver. If they were, I think that'd be a trade back situation. But who knows? But I think I like the position that they're in. They could kind of truly go after their board and see who they really like. Number 21, the New England Patriots selecting Devin Lloyd. I'll give you a spoiler. I also have New England selecting Devin Lloyd. And I said this just seems like the biggest New England pick ever. Devin Lloyd seems like a New England Patriot. And a 3-year starter and film nut who will take over the middle of Bill Belichick's defense. Honestly, why do we all keep letting the Patriots get away with this? Thank you. That's pretty much my exact thought process. Good Lord. Number 22, the Green Bay Packers selecting Treylon Burks, wide receiver from Arkansas. Now, there's a situation where it depends on who you really want to get in terms of wide receiver. Because, yes, they desperately need a wide receiver. Treylon Burks, you want to get a taller, bigger receiver. If you want more of an A.J. Brown kind of guy, you go after Treylon Burks. Maybe you go after a Christian Watson from North Dakota State. Maybe a Jahan Dotson. You don't know. Maybe a Wan'Dale Robinson who could be a dark horse from Kentucky. We don't know. But those are all options that you have if you're Green Bay, just based on more of what you want to get. So, number 23, the Arizona Cardinals selecting Devontae Wyatt. Yeah, I'm not opposed to this pick at all. I like this pickup for them, so I got no issues with them. Number 24, the Dallas Cowgirls. They are selecting Kenyon Green, offensive lineman from Texas A&M. I'm one of those people, I've slowly not, he's like kind of fallen a little bit for me. I don't personally, now it does fit a huge need for them. It really does. He does have a little bit of flexibility, but maybe more of an edge rusher for them. That's more of where I could see them going. But I'm also not opposed to the fit of this need that they have. Number 25, the Buffalo Bills selecting Andrew Booth Jr., corner from Clemson. I like this idea. I like the pickup for them, especially now that you lost Levi Wallace to Pittsburgh. You lose, or Tre'Davious White is coming back from an ACL tear. This would be, I've seen some teams say, or some people say they might go running back here, this would probably be the only team I can see going with a running back in the first round. Could possibly be, but I like this idea a whole lot more, going with Andrew Booth. Number 26, the Tennessee Titans selecting Bernard Rainman from Central Michigan. I'll be honest, I'm not a fan of this guy at all. I think he's a developmental guy. I would not want to draft him in the first round, but that's just me. I think I would much rather maybe have them go with a wide receiver. And I do want to see, real quick, I want to check on something. There we go. Yeah, I see them maybe going after, and you've noticed here too, Nakobe Dean has not come off the board. So if you're Tennessee, if you want to get Nakobe Dean here, that is phenomenal value. If you want to go after a wide receiver, maybe a Jahan Dotson, I like that idea a whole lot better than getting this guy. I'll be honest. Number 27, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers selecting Logan Hall, defensive lineman from Houston. Now this is interesting here. It's very interesting based on just possibly some of the picks or some of the players that they could be losing as well. Give me 1 second. Here we go. I mean, it does fit a huge need for them. Let's be honest. It does fit a huge need. It'll be interesting to see. I could also, in this case, I think they would love to have gotten Zion Johnson over, but he's already long gone here. And so, yeah, maybe. But it's interesting to say. I think also Devontae White is the guy they would have much rather had, but you got to go with whoever's available at this point. Number 28, the Green Bay Packers. So they're going after George Karlaftis, defensive end from from Purdue. I like the idea. I don't know about how much of a fit he is. I think I would have, if we're going, I like the idea of going with an edge rusher, but I think more of maybe a guy like Boye Mafe from Minnesota. He's more of a guy that fits their need or fits their scheme, who could also go out into coverage as well because they could also use a linebacker as well. But I do like the idea. I do like the thought process for Green Bay here. Number 29, the Kansas City Chiefs selecting Christian Watson. This is ridiculous. This would be ridiculous. If you could get a guy who is 6'4" or 6'5" and it can run a 4.3 640, oh my God. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, give Patrick Mahomes that. Yeah, because that's exactly what we all need in the AFC. Okay, so we have a trade. A team that does not have a first-round pick this year comes up in the first round, and they go and get themselves a wide receiver, and that is all none other than Jahan Dotson going to the Chicago Bears. Get Justin Fields a weapon? Yes, absolutely. I have no issue with this whatsoever. Number 20 or 31, the Cincinnati Bengals selecting Tyler Linderbaum. See, here you go. I talked about this. The Baltimore Ravens possibly going to get him at 14, and I'd be okay with that. If you could get him at pick number 31, that's immense value for Cincinnati here. And I think that is a great pickup for them as well. It fits a need. It's not a sexy pick at all, but you've seen what they've done. They've actually spent some money, they've rebuilt and retooled that offensive line that desperately needed retooled. That's exactly what you did. This makes them better, and I hate the fact that Cincinnati is doing this, but it's a great pickup for them. Great. I mean, here, he's talking about you get the 9th ranked prospect in the draft at pick number 31. That is immense value there. And pick number 32, the the Detroit Lions selecting Daxton Hill. I like this idea. I think what does he have? I forget. What does he have him do at pick number 2 here? He had him go. Okay, so you go double dose on defense. I like that idea as well. Help upgrade that defense. So, all right. So there's that. We'll go through a couple of these quick. So we got Milk Hypers. They did a 3-round. We're not going through all 3 rounds. There's not a chance in hell we're doing that. But they predict top 105 teams. They alternate from all 32 teams. So this will be kind of cool. So Todd McShay has the Jacksonville Jaguars selecting Aiden Hutchinson. Cool. We all figured that's going to happen. Detroit Lions selecting Trayvon Walker. Seems like we're starting to see that a whole lot more. Again, as we discussed earlier, I think I'd rather have the sauce. Number 3, the Houston Texans selecting Kayvon Thibodeau. Okay. I like that idea. And what he said is something that I've been saying for a little bit. They need a guy. They haven't had a good pass rusher since JJ. You need to replace what he has done. Maybe not in the community, because what JJ did for that Houston community was absolutely insane, and you love that out of JJ. But this fits a need, and I would love this for Houston. But then that makes things a little bit interesting at pick number 13. Number 4, the Jets selecting, they get the sauce, as we saw earlier. Like that pickup for them as well. I really do. The Giants selecting Ikem Ekwonu. Fits a need. Like it. Good job there, Todd. Number 6, Carolina selecting Malik Willis. All right. So as we talked about earlier, Malik Willis, could be a possibility. It's going to be also interested to see what happens. Well, also, I'm interested to see what happens with Desmond Ridder. I'm interested to see if there's a team that really would like to get him in the first round to get that 5th year of contractual control. Maybe they try to trade up late in the first round if he's still available. I'm very interested to see about that. But going after Malik Willis, got no issue with that as well. Number 7, the New York Giants selecting Jermaine Johnson. So here you go. I think this would have been Kayvon Thibodeau if he was here. He's not. So you go after the next best pass rusher, which is Jermaine Johnson. So I have no issue with this pick. Garrett Wilson, love that pick. Evan Neal, love that pick as well for Seattle. Number 10, the Jets selecting Drake London. Great job. Y'all did a great job for the Jets. I like both the idea of getting the sauce and getting Drake London as well. Number 11, the Washington Commanders selecting Kyle Hamilton. Woo, boy, if you can get Kyle Hamilton here, help out that defense, ooh, that would be nasty. That would be nice. Maybe a wide receiver, but again, maybe it's because the 2 guys that they were looking for, hoping to be there the most, and Garrett Wilson and Drake London are not there. So why not? I like this for Washington. Number 12, the Minnesota Vikings selected Derek Stingley Jr. That's more like it, in my opinion. Number 13, the Houston Texans selecting Charles Cross. Okay, so he slipped a little bit in this to pick number 13, and I like that for him. I really do. Although I thought maybe going after an offensive tackle earlier, but I'm not opposed to this pick either for Houston. Number 14, the Baltimore Ravens selecting Trent McDuffie. Again, like that pickup. They lost Anthony Averett as well, so now you have a need at corner. Go on alongside with Marlon Humphrey. Also, how is Marcus Peters going to look coming back from injury? We don't know. So there you go. So they have options here on what they could do, and so they go with Trent McDuffie. He's one of my favorite players in his class. Number 15, oh boy. The Philadelphia Eagles getting Jameson Williams. So you get two Alabama wide receivers over there with Devontae Smith and Jameson Williams. Oh, man. You will love that for Jalen Hurts. That is beautiful. Number 16, the Saints selecting Trevor Penning. I like that pick. That fits a huge need for them. Number 17, the Chargers selected Jordan Davis. It just seems like that's what they're going to do. That's just a gut feeling that I have. I think they have bigger needs, but they're going to end up going Jordan Davis here. Number 18, the Philadelphia Eagles going after Daxton Hill. Okay. Hey, so pick number 15, you get a wide receiver. They get a guy, he has him slated as a safety/corner. Again, he could play that nickel corner position. He could play similar to what Jimmy Ward has been in San Francisco. So it gives you a little bit of versatility back there. So this would be a good pickup for Philadelphia, and it's interesting to say the least. Number 19, the Saints get Chris Olave. So you go double dose on offense here, and that's similar to what we talked about earlier with Michael Thomas. You get Chris Olave, and so I like this idea for the Saints. Number 20, the Pittsburgh Steelers selecting Kenny Pickett. We've talked about this earlier. I'm not going to really bore you about that again. Number 21, the New England Patriots selecting Nakobe Dean. So now you get the first linebacker off the board, and Nakobe Dean goes for Todd McShay and the New England Patriots. And again, so they go after a linebacker one way or another. And either way, it's a crime at the fact that New England is getting those kind of talent at pick number 21 in terms of linebacker. Again, probably the best linebacker in the class. Number 22, the Green Bay Packers selecting Christian Watson. Again, similar to what I said earlier about Green Bay. Beautiful. Beautiful. Aaron Rodgers having that to throw to, a 6'5 guy who could run a 4'3. Ooh, buddy. Number 23, the Arizona Cardinals selecting Treylon Burks. Hey, this fits a need for them. This does fit a need for them. Christian Kirk is gone. They did re-sign A.J. Green, but he's not what he used to be. I thought maybe you could go with defense. Maybe a guy like Andrew Booth. Maybe a guy like Arnold Abikati as well. Remember, he didn't go in the last mock draft we went to. He did not go in the first round. I think he's a guy that could sneak in the first round from Penn State. So those are all interesting things to talk about. But I'm not opposed to a wide receiver either. Speaking of Arnold Abikati, that's exactly what you got here with Dallas. This is a great pickup for them. Again, as we talked about earlier, maybe you could go with a guard, but I think in this case you go after a guy who could go after the pass rusher or go after the quarterback as a pass rusher, frees up Michael Parsons a little bit more. And remember, you also lost Randy Gregory to Denver, so this just fits a need for them. Number 25, the Buffalo Bills selected Andrew Booth. We talked about this earlier. Same with the other mock drafts. Like it, love it, beautiful, great. Number 26, the Tennessee Titans selecting Zion Johnson. Okay. I'm not opposed to this pick either. But, I think wide receiver. I think wide receiver is where you need to go. Number 27, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers selecting Devontae Wyatt, defensive tackle from Georgia. That is more like it. That I like a whole lot more for them. And that would be beautiful for Tampa Bay to stick in the middle of that defense on that defensive line. Number 28, the Green Bay Packers selecting George Karlaftis. All right. Got no issue with that as well. They need a pass rusher, so you go and get one. The Packers, they parted ways with Zadarius Smith. Cool. Great. Go and get yourself a pass rusher. Again, I talked about possibly Boye Mafe going here based on fit. But I'm also not opposed to George Karlaftis either. Number 29, the Kansas City Chiefs. So they're going after Jahan Dotson and David Ojabo, which is the first time I've seen him in the first round of a mock draft since he's tore his Achilles. Which, I think in this situation, I would rather have them go with maybe someone a little bit different than David Ojabo. I'm not opposed to it, but I just, no. Actually, yeah, I am opposed to it, especially now. But Jahan Dotson, I do like that pickup for them. You replace a couple of the wide receivers that were gone in Kansas City, so I got no issue with that. Number 31, the Cincinnati Bengals selecting Devin Lloyd. Okay, so we think they go offense. Instead, they go defense in this pick. They get Devin Lloyd, which, again, Devin Lloyd is beautiful. But, again, I think I would rather have them fix that interior of the offensive line, depending on if there's someone that they like a little bit more. But, I mean, it is what it is. And pick number 32, we talked about Desmond Ridder possibly going in the first round, and here you go. This is interesting. And it could be a possibility, especially with the guy that I think they would have really wanted here at pick number 32 in Daxton Hill. He's long gone, so why not? I have no issues with that whatsoever. Okay, so he has Tyler Linderbaum going in the second round. Wow. Yeah, I think, don't get me wrong. I love me some Devin Lloyd, But no, I think Tyler Linderbaum fits more of what they need. Boye Mafe, guy that I've talked about a little bit earlier, going to the Jets with the third pick in the second round. There you go. Back-to-back running backs. Kenyon Green, Matt Corral. So there you go. Tyler Smith, he's a guy that I think could maybe sneak in the first round. Kyler Gordon, he very well could go in the first round. The Cleveland Browns selecting a defensive tackle. Fits a need for them. There you go. So you get your center for Baltimore. And I don't know what the hell just happened. There we go. The first tight end off the board for Minnesota, Trey McBride. Cool. So there you go. Sam Howell going to the Saints. It's very interesting. And then you go after John Mechie. Again, another guy that tore his ACL in the second round. But I'm not opposed to that whatsoever. All right, we're going to go back to full screen. I don't think I have much more time to go through some of the other mock drafts as well. But, again, a whole lot starting tomorrow.
These are the Camper Scouts.
And as we have ads going, so that's just wonderful. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. A whole bunch of NFL draft content is going to be coming out starting tomorrow. We're starting off, we're going to be reacting to Najee Harris, last year's first-round pick highlights. So we have that going for you. So make sure, if you haven't yet, subscribe. Turn on the notification bell so you know when we go live or when we post videos. We have all kinds of stuff coming for you. And until then, I hope to see you next week during the NFL draft. It's going to be an absolute blast. Full coverage for the first round of the NFL draft. It's going to be a fun time. But until then, I hope to see you then. Stay safe. Have fun. Peace out.